When I was 4 years old, my mom taught me how to write my name, Mariah. She told me the M are two bows. The A is a circle with a stick, and the R is a stick with a flag. She actually meant a pennant, but she said flag. And as I looked outside, being 4 years old, studying flags, I saw flags are square shaped. So instead of writing an R, a stick with a pennant, it looked more like a P, a stick with a square. And so I started writing Mapaya, Mapaya, Mapaya everywhere. And so Mariah became Mapaya. My family tried to correct me, saying like, no, you have to write it like this. It's an R, not a P. But I looked at the flags again, seeing they are square. And so I knew I am doing it exactly as it should be done. And I was so proud of myself. My 4-year-old Mariah turned into Mapaya, and it became a nickname for a while, as a joke. Around the same age, I also had an imaginary friend that I played with when I was alone in the garden. Her name was Sassy. She was a very magical imaginary friend because she had blue feathers in her hair, she was wearing blue clothes, and her hair was short with on one side a bit longer than on the other side. And I used to play with her whenever I felt sad or whenever I felt alone, so that I had my imaginary friend to play with. My parents were very wise, though, how they handled this, because instead of going against it, making me wrong for it, they bought us a little kitten and decided to name this kitten Sassy, so that Sassy now became something real. And by the way, the cat Sassy was also a guardian for me looking back, because she was very cuddly and would sleep with me and has really helped me go through my youth years. But anyway, fast forward to my Saturn return just before turning 28, because Saturn has a 28-year-long cycle around the sun. So around that age, your Saturn will be on the same spot than when you were born, which will open up a lot of things, because Saturn is the planet of discipline, father energy, grounded, and boundaries. And so anything that is like not in truth, anything that's not aligned in the grounded truth of who you are, is going to like open up, rearrange, and getting back to your alignment. So anything that's like hidden in your subconscious that needs to become aware will become aware. So right before my Saturn return, I was at a festival and I got sucked into a hypnosis show, and I got on stage being the one hypnotized. And the hypnotist did some tricks with me, and eventually he asked me to go to a childhood memory. And I started seeing a wormhole, as if I was going through a wormhole. And suddenly I plopped into my garden, looking at my 4-year-old self, Mariah. And I realized, oh my god, I am wearing feathers in my hair right now. I am wearing blue clothes right now. My hair has been cut short with on one side longer. And I just realized, holy shit. I am my imaginary friend that I had when I was 4. Me from the future, me in almost turning 28. What? And so there was this portal, this loophole created, and I started talking to my 4-year-old self, and I say, you know what? You never stop playing. You never stop playing. Keep on playing. Then I hear a soft voice of the hypnotist trying to get me back, and I get sucked back into the wormhole, back into the present moment of the hypnosis show. And I start crying, because what the fuck just happened? It was so big. Something so huge had opened up in me, clicked in, as if something was revealed to me on how energy works, how the psyche works, how we, with focus and attention, manifest, and how we have a timeline that we can move forward and backward in, and that everything is happening simultaneously in the present moment right now. But what also happened was that I started identifying more with the name Mapaya than Mariah, because I got so connected to my inner child from the age that wrote Mapaya, that in honor of her and in honor of my authenticity and the never stop playing, because I never did stop playing, like I never stopped playing because of that loop. And so, having Mapaya, which is written from a place of not being boundaried by society yet, was just so much more me in that moment. And this was the start of my spiritual awakening, where I opened up to my transformer arms right after that, started traveling the world to seek answers and get initiated. And during these initiations also I found that there were suppressed memories coming back from a trauma that I got sexually abused at age 4, when I wrote Mapaya and when I created my imaginary friend. And so I had to do so much inner child work for 10 years almost. I did inner child work, healing work, energy work, nurturing my inner child, reprogramming my subconscious mind, reprogramming my inner masculine, because it was really fucking distorted. Went through the whole fucking underworld of psychopathy, Freemasonry, the occult, Satanism, all of the underground, underworld, dark fucking shit. Which then reveals how the Vatican has been conquering the world with their fucking church, and everyone who didn't want to join the church got killed and uprooted from their roots. And so when you look deeper into it, you also see that Latin, the writing that we write comes from Latin, from the Vatican, comes from the Romans, who stole the Greek written language, and which is a pure symbolic writing that all compasses all of natural law. So the Greek alphabet is actually the tarot, astrology, like all the divination systems, all the fucking natural law. It's in the symbols of the writing. And so what the Romans did is they stole it, they changed it, they manipulated it, and with that they manipulated the original natural law energy of the writings. And the funny thing is that the R written in Greek is written as a P. So my mystical fucking soul, inner child that got, wounded, but through the wound opened a fucking mystical portal, knew that Mapaya was the correct way to write Mariah. And so Mapaya and Mariah are also very interconnected, which it comes from Maria, right? Something that I want to share about this as well is that it's very common for people in the spiritual community to change their name or get a spiritual name, which is amazing because you can identify with a new frequency and then strengthen that frequency that then can help the wounded identity help heal. But when you don't bring them together again, when you keep them separated, that's actually when healing is not happening, but because you're getting more fragmented and you abandon actually the wounded part of you that needs the healing. So there's nothing wrong with changing your name or having a new frequency identity, but it is super important that you bring them together when the time is right and not completely abandon the wounded part of you, because it can never heal that way. And this is what happened here. Mapaya and Mariah became really one. So I and I had to go through this process because, there was a deep wound that I needed to heal, which was so beautifully that it came together like that. And it really opened me up to the whole fucking timeline thing, because if I am able to do this with my 4-year-old self to help me heal, then I can also do this with my future self and get support in the present moment. Whenever I go through a big struggle or it's painful or a difficult situation, I can call upon my future self who has gone through the struggles, who has gotten the wisdom, who knows all of the answers. And I can connect with her and be guided by my future self. So this is how we, in the present moment, completely always have access to our future self and our past self. And we can clean up and clear anything that is distorted, anything that is heavy, anything that you don't want to create. So we clear it from the past, we clear it from the future, and we live in the present like that. And we call upon our future self when we want. We give help to our past self. We call upon our past self, and we kind of like weave our identity, and with that, our future and our timeline, and the future and the timeline of this planet, right? And so I'm not saying to not get any external support from a coach or a healer or a therapist. No, I love outside support. It is amazing. We need that. We need each other to, to shift and do this as well. But having your own back like that, being able to call upon your future self like that in times of struggle is fucking amazing. And you feel so supported all of the times. And also, it is the work to do all of the phases of your life as a teenager, as a young adult, as an elder, as a young child, as a baby, to really go over all of it and integrate these parts. If there's shame, if there's like anger, if there's like hate towards any part of you, that's the work that you need to do and you can get help from your future self who has already done that work, to really love these parts of yourself and love yourself into wholeness and love yourself into alignment. And from there, your identity shifts, your timeline shifts, life gets lighter, life you gets more fun, gets more open, gets more beautiful. And this is what we all can do. And this is not just me being mystical as fuck and super woo. This is actually human being nature. Or at least, not if you're a muggle, but if you're listening to this, you're definitely not a muggle, especially if you're still listening. You're a fucking magician, you're a wizard, you're a witch, you're a priestess, you're a unicorn, so you know what I'm talking about. And this is the work, and this is also the work that we do in Down the Rabbit Hole of Gifts, my upcoming program, where we go into this work and much more other work to really embody your unique spiritual technology. Because the more you clean this timeline up, the more integrated you are, the more powerful your healing gifts become. And your intuition, your spiritual technology is going to be so on point, and you're going to be so fucking clear, because you now have the space, you have the awareness, you have the calm nervous system to really dial up these gifts and use them for your own leadership, for your clients, for your loved ones, for your neighbors, for strangers, and for the whole fucking planet, right? So if you want to join this, click on the link in the description or in my bio, or send me a message and I'll send the link to you.